My name is Aaron Walsh. I'm the director of the Immersive Education Initiative and the Knowledge Foundation, and have been a faculty since 1999 at Boston College in computer science with a focus on advanced and emerging technologies. And just last year, I left and departed the university to focus exclusively on the Knowledge Foundation, which is what brings me here today. And this is a lot of words, and so I've highlighted a few of them, and I will speak to only a couple of them. But effectively, what we're doing with the United Nations is a global collaboration focused on advancing education using blockchain technology. Beneath it all is blockchain, and a particularly large component of it is AI. And just last month, we kicked off our first hackathon dedicated to AI at Oxford University. It's our first full year of hackathons, and those are now leading into a collaboration that we have established with DFINITY between the United Nations, the Knowledge Foundation, and DFINITY to focus on a 3-year series of hackathons that advance the educational software on blockchain. Our early collaborators are from Lucerne, MIT, Oxford, University of Zurich, and then Yale and Brown, and in particular, the United Nations UNODC and the GRACE Initiative are our major and early partners in this endeavor. This work in the foundation actually comes from immersive education, and immersive education has been in place since 2005, starting out of Boston College and becoming its own entity. And the work that we began there was focused on using augmented and virtual reality simulations and learning games, all forms of immersion, for education. We have thousands of members around the world, and together they service millions of students. And it was from this organization, this work, that we ended up having the Knowledge Foundation becoming its own entity. If you were to take a look at over the years, the participants and collaborators in immersive education, in some ways it's a who's who of universities and institutions, but it goes all the way down to small schools that have no funds whatsoever, and even mom and pop at home teaching their own students, their own children. And again, just a quick look at some of the logos, since logos are more catchy than words in some cases, of the organization. But it gave rise to the foundation, which is really why I ended up departing the university, to focus on this. So immersive education gave birth to the Knowledge Foundation, and ultimately to our collaboration with the United Nations, which is what brings me here today. And these are roughly the order that these collaborations were established. And Brown and Yale are Ivy Leagues. I'm not sure if they're well known here in Switzerland, but we have a good group of collaborators working on education in the space with blockchain as the foundation. And this all came out of a very simple question that we were asked over and over by the kids that were using immersive technology for learning. And so we brought, these are early stage examples of VR, augmented reality, and simulation in the educational space. And you see these young adults who were using the technology for learning, but they kept coming to us with this question because they were having this exciting experience. And the exciting experience was leading them to ask, well, what's my score? They're feeling like this is a game, and they should have a score. And so for the longest time, many years, we said there is no score, you are in fact learning. We didn't want to tell you that, but we eventually had to give a score because we were asked about it, and decided that the score should be a reflection of their academic progress. It shouldn't just be a score for a score's sake, and that score should be universal. The same student in the United States that does a piece of work that earns a token should be rewarded in the same way that someone halfway around the world doing the same work is. It should be an international, effectively an international currency, and it should allow us to put learner data on the blockchain and have very fine-grained academic records of what the learners are doing to earn these tokens. And so we refer casually to the knowledge token as intellectual currency. And this is because they're able to spend that. If we do indeed enable the currency aspect of it, they're able to spend it to buy goods and services. They can, in fact, even put it towards more academic activities, tuition, textbooks, and so forth. The currency can be turned off in cases where you don't want it to be a motivating factor. But it is, in fact, it is a comprehensive, very fine-grained digital record that is kept on the blockchain, and the tokens facilitate a reward system on top of that. Having moved from traditional technology most recently into blockchain, and having selected internet computer as the primary focus for our work, we recently entered into a collaboration with the United Nations, the UNODC, and the GRACE Initiative, which is part of UNODC, and also internet computer. And this was to push forward our development of the token and to engage the global community around the token and the protocols, and in particular using AI. And that comes by way of a 3-year hackathon series called Coding for Integrity. And this happens seasonally. Spring, summer, and fall, the hackathons are happening at different places around the world. The winners are given grants generously by Dfinity to allow them 2 months of time to enhance and develop further what they have produced at the hackathon. And then they hand off their work. It becomes a subject of the next hackathon. And in this way, we continue the development over a series. And in winter, we have at UN offices in different places in the world, starting with Vienna this year, they come together. And all the previous winners are now working together for what amounts to a point release at the end of each year. So to date, we've had hackathons, 2 at Oxford last year and this year, 1 in Doha, South Africa, and we're coming back again in September. And this gives a little bit of a snapshot. Typically over 100 participants representing over 30 countries. There's a combination of grants. The developer grants are provided by Dfinity. There's cash, and there's also tokens. And really the best is yet to come, in that this work feeds into open international standards for AI in the space of education. And so the Knowledge Foundation is chartered to develop standards, open standards, in the space that it operates, which is education. One key aspect of that is AI. And so in the AI space, we look at AI being used for everything that a teacher can be used for, to not only assist the teachers, but there are an incredible number of places in the world where there are no teachers or they're not qualified. We think AI can bring and level the playing field in these regions. So why on-chain? Why not just go off-chain? Well, there are a couple of pretty obvious reasons I think that people know about now. Bias, misinformation, and AI hallucinating. We can't afford that in education. And most recently, research out of MIT showing AI systems, starting with some from Meta, that are intentionally deceiving the users. These are untenable in education. And so we believe by bringing it on to the chain, we have more control and more precision over what is offered to a student who's learning via these environments. There's also the issue of cheating, fraud, and theft. And AI can be used to analyze the behavior of the learner to ensure it's who they say they are, and to guard against these types of behaviors in the learning environment. And we have a technology working group that's focused on the standards in that space as well. But I think a part that people don't really think too much about for education is the human element. You know, in military, in medical, if AI makes mistakes and misguides you, lives are lost or could be lost. The same thing can happen in education. In Switzerland, in the United States, in Boston, where I'm from, we don't think about a teaching mistake or an issue inside of education costing a student their lives. But when you look at the work we're doing with the UN, largely it's to bring this technology to people who don't have resources. And so when you start using AI, which captures identity, who that learner is, if the AI can be tricked into revealing the location of young learners who have what amounts to a wallet full of money, their lives are at risk. And so we have a working group dedicated to that as well, to deal with that. And of course, AI for analytics and visualization of the learner data. We're using it in this space. So we have a number of collaborations in place. I'd welcome if there are others who think that you might be able to work with us, we'd welcome that. 2 of us are here today. Leonardo is from the United Nations. He's just left to work with us. We have 3 others in different locations around the world, but we'll be here all day and look forward to working with you if you'd like to work with us. So thank you for your time.